All right, people, we're back. Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 4. So, I'm going to go ahead and start with the... I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to start out with. What I want to say is, overall, I think that this was a positive episode. Don't know how many of these we're going to get through this season, but I'm going to take the positive when I can get it. And the negative, and I'm going to go ahead and start with that, is Shaquille and Kirsten. So I'm able to see their situation, from both sides. So I think this is where the episode starts, is like when they are getting ready to get into their post-wedding, pre-honeymoon evening. And he carries her in, and she congratulates them on their teamwork. So she had the key card, and she twisted the knob, and he was able to bring her in. And they, love the room and all of that. So the the scene happened with her sitting on his lap and them kind of going over the day, and he was saying to her that he really is coming into this wanting to make it work, and her affirming that she wanted to make it work, and she, in her mind, understands that it's going to be a journey. And he asked her when she gave that sigh, before she communicated herself, that's what the sigh was, Shaq. I mean, you're all in. She's not all in. That's where the sigh came from. So you're looking at her from an external point of view instead of looking at her from an internal point of view. And she has to see you from an internal point of view because she's not attracted to the external you. And the other problem that I find with Shaq is that he doesn't understand how to communicate to her. I don't think so. He asked her for a kiss, yes. I don't think she liked the way he asked her for a kiss. I think that she just wanted him to ask her for a kiss. Like, can I kiss you? The same thing that she said in her little 101, we're married at first sight. And he said, can I get my kiss? And I don't think she liked the way that he phrased it. And I don't think she liked the way that he asked it. The other side is, okay, Kirsten, this is all new. This is new to him. It's new to you. So he's doing the best that he can. And even if you couldn't give him a kiss, according to your standards, you could have kissed him on the cheek. You could have gave him a hug. And it kind of reminds me of when Michael was talking to Cal, Dr. Cal. And he was saying that Jasmina was doing the obligatory, I kissed my husband, good night. And he told her that if it was something that she wasn't feeling, then she didn't have to do it. And Dr. Cal told him that was stupid because you want to take every opportunity to have closeness. So if she wants to give you a kiss at night, let her give you a kiss at night. Don't turn that down. And the same thing, with these two. Shaq, if you can get a kiss on the cheek, take a kiss on the cheek. you're going to have to take those small steps in order to get to the larger one that you know, want to get to. And with Kirsten, give him a hug. Give him a kiss on the cheek. Give him a peck. You know, you can do this. This is something that you can extend yourself, you know, to do. And these are opportunities, you know, that are lost. Because now he's telling her, okay, well, we can't go to the honeymoon right now because we got to go to Jackson for this, that, and the third. And it really didn't really seem relevant to me because, and I clipped it, go look at it. She seemed like she ended up in the hotel for the whole time. I mean, if he could have got her to actually go to wherever he was, I don't know what money he would have had to pay, what accommodations he would have had to seek. I don't know. I mean, that's all for him to figure out. And if he hadn't figured any of that out, he seriously should have given her a choice. I don't have all of this figured out. I would love for you to come with me if you're comfortable. If you're not, I can understand because this is all arranged before Married at First Sight. And he should have gave her a choice. So if she wanted to go with him, then Kirsten, don't complain about it. Get up and go. And I see it too. Maybe she didn't have clothes. Maybe Shaq, you need to stop and go get her some clothes so she can, because she's probably packed his vacation clothes. She hadn't packed anything to accompany you to this event that you're going to in order for you to be able to do what you're doing, you know, your career. So it's way more than just a thought inside of your head. And I don't think that Shaq considered that. And I'm really disappointed. Very, very, very disappointed. She's already not feeling you. It's really hard to start at the back of the gate. And then when all the horses are gone, you still haven't managed to make it out of the style. And then think that you're going to be a winner. So that's kind of what the negative, you know, that jumped out at me in this whole thing. And I'm going to put a video. I'm going to put the Lifetime videos that they put up after the episode 4. But I think there may be like 1 or 2. I know there's at least 1. But anyway, I'm also going to include a clip from a Married at First Sight reviewer, Jack Glenn. I think that's the name of it. And he actually really presented some very strong, he gave strong, like, ways of thinking about this situation that I actually agreed with. So I'm going to clip that down there too. And I invite you guys, you know, to go and look. So I'm going to look at my notes now. And kiss or not, I guess not. I think she's putting too much on the kiss, especially when she hasn't really communicated herself, you know, to him if they're strangers. And I don't think either one of them is really praying for guidance in this situation. And if they don't do that, these are 2 people who have sworn that this is the compass, you know, that guides them is the Lord. Then you need to be checking your compass. I've talked about this, you know, in earlier videos. In map reading, you have to check your compass. You got to check it. I don't care if you think that you know where you're going. You've got to take the map, and you got to take the compass, and you got to take your eyes and ears, and you got to figure out where you are in the direction that you're headed in. And you've got to check it frequently. It's the same thing with cooking. You got to check your temperatures. You got to check, to make sure it's not overcooking. You got to check to, make sure it's done, that it's fine, and you can let it rest. And it's nuances. This whole thing is a nuance. And I don't see these things, occurring, between them. These are supposed to be the most spiritually aware couple in this whole experiment. And I have put them at the back of the pack. She should have been allowed to choose. The Lord gives us the opportunity to choose. And I don't care if you're married to some dude or some woman. You still have the opportunity to choose how you're going to spend your time. Especially when Shaq chose to stay with this conference instead of being fully committed to the process. So if things were already set before the process, then why go through the process? This is the dichotomy of what everybody has been trying to ask him, and he doesn't want to take accountability of. What are you going to do with your time, Shaq? You say you want to be on Married at First Sight. If Married at First Sight is what you want to do, then it is a priority. If your doctorate is what you want to do, then it is a priority. You can't straddle priorities. And that is another thing that's going to get him, in trouble. This is a theme. She was talking with his family, and I'm skipping, I'm going to do it. But she was saying to them, I don't want to have to always accommodate what he's got going on. And he started out the relationship with what he's got going on. I mean, it's like everything that can go wrong will. It's like Murphy's Law with Shaq right now. And I know a lot of people like Shaq. I like Shaq. I'm rooting for him. I really honestly am. But we got to be able to tell the truth, about the situation at the same time. This is a bad decision. And he communicated it badly. And it's hard to overcome. If they mess up on the honeymoon, it is hard to overcome. And he hadn't even gone on the honeymoon. And he doesn't even understand the wall that he has built for himself in order to be able to connect, with his wife. So, I hope it doesn't seem like she got a chance to see him in his element. It was a waste of time. Just a waste of time. She could have been in Jamaica, and she could have talked to the women, and they could have, helped her welcome him. I mean, I see it as a lost opportunity. So, what else do I have here? Priorities. Yeah, I said a bad decision. Yeah, I did. I said Michael refusing Jasmine's kiss goodnight. And Pascal told him, yeah, that was stupid. You shouldn't have done that, because you should take every opportunity. Any hand that can be held, any kiss on the forehead that can be given, any kiss on the cheek that can be given, any hug that can be given, any nice word that can be given, any grace that can be given. It's only going to pour into the end result of what you want, and still give her the opportunity to be comfortable in all of that. You know, this is not just a you're my wife. This is not a you're my wife, so therefore you have to. It's very difficult for me to see a guy like Shaq with someone like Kirsten and see them completely miscommunicate. They're like two ships in the night with each other, passing right by each other, right now. And it hurts. It hurts for me to see it because I understand some of the cultural reasons why they're at this level of miscommunication. And I'm going to take a minute, for a sidebar, here. Because he calls himself a workaholic. And that's what they have put, on his thing, Mr. Workaholic. God wasn't a workaholic. When God created the earth, the Christians only see 6 days. They ignore the seventh day. It took 7 days for creation, not 6. He has put a time aside for, number one, rest. Very important. The Sabbath day is very, 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 very important. And Christians go blind when you try to talk to them, about the Sabbath day. The other thing is they don't understand how the Lord feels about his bride. And the way that he feels about his bride is the way that all men who say that they follow him should see their brides. The bride of Christ is high. It is a high platform. And I don't see Shaq putting his wife on this high platform that I see the Lord putting his bride. So he is completely ignorant about the love and the consideration and the seriousness that goes behind taking a bride. A lot of men don't. Christianity has created such a rot, especially in the black community. It has rotted us from the inside out. And you can't come before the Lord with a black heart. You can't come before him with a heart that is ready to kill your brother. Same thing, like with the, nuts in Memphis. The race soldiers. Because they want to appeal to Massa. They want to let Massa know, hey man, we got it covered over here. And one of the officers is in a fraternity. He's in Omega Psi Phi. And I'm going to put that link in the description box as well from it's from the Daily Post, I think it is. And there's an article. Oh my goodness. You want me to go here? Okay. So let me go. Daily Post. Because I'm supposed to read you guys, some information. So New York Post. So it's the New York Post. And where is it? 2 days ago. No, it's a few days ago. Yeah, and I want to be able, if I can. But I'll find it. If I can't find it now, I'll find it and then I'll put it at the bottom. But anyway, He came from a chapter of Omega Psi Phi that was reported for hazing. And that kind of goes back to some of the stuff I've been talking, to you guys about. The boule, the black boule. These jokers are crazy because they think, because they're cultured, because they have understood what white people have set down, and they have agreed that this is the kind of society that they want to live in. Then they have now subjected the rest of us. They've now said that this is the way that the rest of us is supposed to live. So if you've seen that movie on Django Unchained, and it's with Samuel L. Jackson and Leonardo DiCaprio and Jamie Foxx. And the character that Samuel L. Jackson plays is the slave that tells the rest of the slaves, this is the way that we're supposed to go in order for us. It can't be freedom. I guess in order for us to survive, this is the frame of mind he's adopted, that whatever master says and whatever master wants is the way that it's going to go, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. And whether he has to go against his own people or not, it doesn't matter. The power is here, so we have to bow to this power. And if we don't bow to this power, then we're lowlifes and we don't deserve, to have air breathing, through our lungs. And we don't get to walk around as free, human beings on the planet. And that's what I saw with these 5, guys. And it's what I see with sororities and fraternities. You already know how I feel about it. It puts you against your own people for something that's absolutely not true. That whole Scorpion unit, and I know I'm going on a rant, just, stay with me. The whole Scorpion unit was supposed to be for peace, for the neighborhood. There was nothing peaceful about anything I saw in that video. There's nothing peaceful about the hazing that goes on in sororities and fraternities. And then they turn around and talk about, we want to be about community service. Well, why don't you do the community within your community? Why do you have to take paddles and beat, grown men, grown women? You're letting grown people beat you when you wouldn't even let your own parents, do that, to you anymore. The level of insanity behind this is just, it's insane. And we refuse to, be able to tell the truth, about it. So, a lot of people had a problem with her sitting on his lap. It was really, if you looked at the scene, it should be clipped. It should be clipped down there. Then you should see that there was a real opportunity for a real kiss or a real sign of affection, between the two of them. It probably would have been better if she had just given him, a hug and kind of headed off that kiss question, at the pass. But, it was awkward. It was awkward, and she told her family and friends that if he asked, then she would give it consideration. And I don't think she gave it, real consideration. So I don't know. I don't know about her. I want you guys out there who are of this age to take this opportunity to start making some different decisions. You guys in your 30s. So when you're in your 20s, you don't know. That is when you're supposed to be out here gathering that level of information. So by the time you hit your 30s, you're actually able to be mature and be able to see people as they are in their state and decide whether you want to accept them or not. Not based on what the culture, tells you, but also what your life experience, has shown you. And then, things that you've learned from other people. It is it's a mix of information that we are all going to need in order for us to turn around and try to take all that, sift it out, and try to make the best decision, for ourselves. So, you guys in your 30s, anybody out there that's listening, and can get this message, men and women, it's not just on the women to improve themselves and to change the way that we think. Men are going to have to do that as well. And I think this is my philosophy. It has nothing to do with anything I read or I mean, it does have something to do with what I read. But I'm saying nothing I read said this, to me. It's what I've come to see as a result of everything, that I just said. We've been sold a bill of goods. Things that we have been taught are not true. And if we're going to survive, if black people care about surviving, this is up to, you guys. I'm at a point in dating where men culturally aren't interested. So I'm talking to women who are at least 30 to 45, years old. You guys have a finite window, and you're going to have to take this time and use it as wisely, as you can. Because once you get to the age of 50, they put you out the pasture. When you're still a whole, complete human being who can still give love and still, be a partner, to somebody. But culturally, black men, they don't see that for you once you get past, 45 years old. And that's something that wasn't explained, to me. And I hope, to be able to help you guys, there's a scripture, and I want to say it's in Matthew 24, when he's giving us prophetic knowledge, and he talks about, how the love between people is going to wax cold. And it's going to wax cold between Christians first. A lot of Christians, they look at, the stuff that's happening in society. Because y'all already know I'm in Babylon. So I get a chance to see all this stuff. I get a chance to be around people who are not interested in nothing about Jesus, Christ. So I'm able to see this stuff. And I see actually more love with them than I'm seeing with Christians. And Christians think that the freeze is gonna come from Babylon, and it's not. It's actually coming, from within the supposed, church. I mean, how many of those 5 guys would say that they believe in Jesus, but then they would go and do that, to their fellow, man, not just their fellow man, but their brother. And the Lord is going to have me do a video on my other channel, Am I My Brother's Keeper? And I'm going to go over, that scripture about Cain and Abel. So I invite you, to come and join me, for that. So what else do I have here? I say that, don't turn down the opportunity for affection. Yeah, I saw that with, like I said, Jasmina and Michael. And anybody, don't do that. Leave that door open, because that's where all of the magic is going to be able to happen, between you, because you're leaving this opportunity, available. It's not in your head. You're giving it over to the Spirit, and you're letting the Spirit, guide you and be, your compass. So I don't see them giving each other 100%. And that's Shaq and her. Okay? So if everybody's out there loving Shaq to death, oh, he can't do no wrong, oh, she's just horrible. No, man, Shaq has culpability in this at this point. And I'm tired of them coming on here talking about Jesus when I don't see them leaning on him. I don't see them using his words and his teachings in order to help them through this process. Okay. So we're still in the room. She's on his lap. She's telling him no with the kiss. He's unbuttoning her. She goes and changes. My thing with the women, let the men go first, because you know that you're going to be in the bathroom longer. So if he unbuttons you, ask him to go do his toiletry thing, and then you can change into your robe and then go and do what you want to do. Because when you spend 45 minutes in the bathroom, by the time you come out, he's tired. And he doesn't want to go and take his shower and do his thing. And it takes him less time. Let him go first in this instance, so he can de-stress from the day. Then you get a chance to go de-stress from the day. And then you get a chance to come together on a whole new energetic platform. I saw that. And then the whole conversation about, oh, what do you do for bed? What do you do for bed? It just didn't match. It didn't match. And I just see so many communication problems happening between these two. And that's where my hesitation, kind of is coming from. So, they wake up, the next day. Everything's cool. He goes, gets the food. Then they go meet, for brunch. I thought that she was really effective in her communication at brunch. And I thought that it was really cool that his family was there to listen to her. Because then maybe they'll be able to, do a level of communication, with him later. And she did. She said that I don't want to always be compromising, with him to the point where she's losing herself. She got the kids. She's selling houses. He's doing his doctor thing, flying all over the country, being Dr., Dylan, and, being a workaholic and not really paying attention to her as his wife, and then, his family as, the unit with the energy that he could be bringing, to it. So I heard what she was saying. And like I said, for him to get the basket and then to do this whole Mississippi thing, to me, mirrored the fears, that she said that she was having, to his, family. So, what else do I have? Yeah, I said that. Kiss on cheek. Oh, yeah. So, when they woke up the next day, and she did her little outtake, she was like, I know everybody was wondering. No, Kirsten, we weren't wondering. We knew that nothing had happened, between you and Shaq. So, brunch. And I said that he's telling her this now, not knowing whether or not she even has anything packed that's going to be appropriate, for her to even go to the conference. Did he buy her a ticket to the conference? Did he have a way for her to go with him as his guest? I don't see any of that. I don't see any of that planning I don't see any intentionality. He should have sold it. He should have been able to sell it. I mean, if I was going to do it, because you already know this woman is going to want to go on her vacation. So how am I going to persuade her or give her the options? I'm going to, tell her you got Jamaica. So what can I do? What can I offer you that's going to stack up and say, wait a minute. I actually might be able to get a double benefit out of this. I'm getting a chance to go to Jackson, Mississippi, somewhere I probably would have never gone on my own. And I get a chance to support my husband and get a chance to see what he's going to do, in his presentation. And I get a chance to be in a historical black city, go do a day tour. If I can't, if the logistics doesn't work and I can't be with him physically, now I get a chance to actually take a few hours and go and walk around Jackson and talk to people and go eat and do this, that, and the third. And then we get to go to Jamaica. He should have sold this to her. And with the way that he presented it to her was just lackluster. And I think that this is the shack that we're going to get. And if this is the shack that we're going to get, then he's not going to end up with Kirsten. So let us talk about Clint and Gina. This is where I am. I felt like I was going to talk about Eris and Jazz. But we'll talk about Clint and Gina. What's going on? I was listening to some of the other reviewers, and they seem to be upset about something they think that Gina said. So I clipped where Clint and Gina came into the room. They're doing their post-wedding thing, and I thought that they had been communicating themselves, pretty good, together. It seems pretty positive, and when she went, so he carried her in. She went and changed out her gown. He thought that it was sensual, the buttons. And I kind of get why the wedding dress has as many buttons and not a zipper. Because that's actually what it's intended to do. It's kind of like a thing between the man and the woman. And I think that Clint picked up on that because he thought that it was sexy, for him to have to undo his wife's dress in order for her to be able to go in the bathroom and prepare herself, to come to him in the bed. But when she came out, they snuggled and slept. And then the next day they went and met their spouse's family and friends. And I thought that both encounters went well. So on Clint's side, when he went to go and talk, the thing that Gina's sister-in-law got from the conversation that she had with him is that they are a lot alike. And she sees that as a red flag because where are their boundaries? Where are their boundaries will work? How are they going to prioritize, each other? Because if you look at a couple like Megan Good and Devon Franklin, they're both in Hollywood. So they both understand the rigors of acting and schedules and contracts and all of that. And sets. Having to fly, all over the world, for this scene and that scene. And they still weren't able to make the necessary time for each other to make their marriage successful. These are people with money and means. And what is a couple like Clint and Gina gonna do when you got two people like a Devon and a Megan who can't figure out, how to make it work. So when she said that, that's where my mind, kind of went. The other thing is when Gina was talking with his family and friends, the friend was like, "Do you think he's hot?" And she said, yeah. She thought that he was really attractive. And for some reason, people are upset because I heard her say on the after show, and that's why I clipped it. That is exactly why I put that clip up there. Rudy asked her, where was her mind in that conversation that they were having after the wedding? It wasn't necessarily how she was feeling today. She was saying how she felt then. And she was saying that there was a chemistry, but the physical chemistry at that point wasn't there. And when she was talking with his family, she was saying that initially he's not what she normally goes for. That's the same thing everybody else has been saying in this season, except people like Shaq, who thinks that Kirsten is, amazing. Kirsten doesn't see that with Shaq. Gina doesn't see that with Clint. Eris doesn't see that with Jasmine. He's having to adjust how he feels. He thinks she's attractive. He's not off-put, by her physically. But is she normally, what he gravitates to? According to him, no. But he's willing to shift. He's willing to do that movement in order for him to figure out how he really, feels about her. And that's what I see happening with Gina. And so there's a thing that Married at First Sight has put up where Nicole is complaining because she's saying that she feels that Clint is saying something about the voluptuous or the curvy, we call it curvy these days, body type. But then Gina has talked to him and she's saying that his ginger features are not normally her body type. So this is something that we all are going to have to settle. We're either going to have to settle into that either your personality and your character matters more to me than what you physically present in front of me, or we're not. So I'm not one way or the other at this point about their conversations on how Gina feels about what she thinks Clint looks like, or Clint on how he feels about what he thinks Gina looks like. I'm still waiting for information. And for people who think that they actually are making a point, it's not a point. Not yet. We don't have enough information to be making points. And I just wanted to be able to put that out. I'm telling you, every time I hear stuff, just stupid stuff, it's like, I'm so, please, Lord, don't put these kind of people on a jury. I don't want to be where I have to have a jury of my peers to judge me, for something that I've done. My thing is, if I were, the Lord was tried. He was tried. And the people chose a criminal. They chose to free Barabbas, a criminal, a thief, and a murderer, than to set the Lord, free. This is the kind of mindset that we're still living in, today. And it just scares me to death when I'm hearing the supposed intelligent people not be able to listen to the same information I'm listening to and be able to take these facts and shift and sift them into a proper, place. Very, very scary to me. And this is another reason why I'm trying to give young people the opportunity to really start to think about relationships differently. Because when you go and you listen to these other people talk about the way that they think that, they're seeing this show, this is the reason why we're in this situation. This is the reason why we are unable, and you got the incels and the manosphere, and you got all this junk. When Adam and Eve need to be able to sit down and have a conversation, with each other, and be able to really move all this cultural nonsense out of the way and just talk to each other as two human beings. So that was another rant. Where am I? Clinton Gina. So, when they show the previews of Gina talking to Clint about her ginger theory, we don't get the rest of the conversation that they've had. We do have the conversation that she's had with his family members that I thought was valid. I thought everything that she said there was something that she could say. And I thought that what she said on the after show was something that she could say. I don't see her being incongruent in anything at this point. And I don't see Clint being incongruent at anything at this point. She said that she listed some of the characteristics from her last relationship. She was like, she is not only not attracted to the ginger features on a man, but she's also not attracted to blonde men. So she said the dude that she was dating was a blonde and had ginger features. But these other characteristics that he had outweighed the physical. And then the other thing that I would give her is that she's a hairdresser. So she sees different colors in hair. And she loves his wave pattern that he has. Me, especially looking at Married at First Sight Australia, the last season, there was this couple, Selena, and I forgot the other dude's name. But she was a hairstylist. And she gave Cody, it was Selena and Cody. And she gave him a bomb haircut. Something he wouldn't have even thought about, to be able to go and do, for himself. And his wife gave that to him. And it totally, did something positive for his looks. So with Gina being a hairstylist, I could see her looking at him as a hairstylist. And if I was him, I'd take advantage of that. Maybe she could give you some pointers. Maybe she could give you a good cut and move you into a whole different direction. We all have to change our looks at a certain point. So this is an opportunity, for Clint. But I know that men are very fragile in their egos. And I hope that that is not something that would turn into a Mitch and a, what was her name? Christian situation. Because Christian didn't dig deep enough. She didn't dig deep enough to find out some information that she needed to know. And if she didn't do it, I could easily see Clint not doing it and getting into his feelings and just making a mess, even more of a mess. So we'll see. We'll see. So I think that's what I have, for them. So Dom and Mac, I put in the after show, they have a clip about their talk that they had after the wedding. We didn't see him bring her into the room, I don't think, like we did with everybody else. And one of the things on the after show that she talked about was that he was trying to change their seats because he doesn't like the middle seat, and he messed it up. And it turned out that when they were able to get back on the flight, not only were he and she separated, so he changed their seats, he still ended up with a middle seat. and he ended up in the part of the plane that he did not want to be in. He wanted to be in first class, and he made it worse for himself in coach. So, patience. McKinley has to show me some patience, because that was something easy. He could have sat through for a couple of hours. Nashville and Jamaica, that's not too long of a flight. He could have borne that without all of the drama. But Dominique seemed to take it with smiles. So I like that, aspect of what she brought, to the table. And looking at and I clipped that as well down there. Family interaction, family and friends, interactions. The grandma and her mom were saying that they keep asking about the whole race thing because they understand that Dominique knows the turbulent waters that are ahead for them. They want to ascertain that McKinley understands that there are turbulent waters ahead for them, especially if they're going to stay in Nashville or in the South. And I thought that was good. So when you go and look at Dom talking to his family and friends, I take his mother, and I think she did too, that she's just an older person who's just stuck. People are just stuck. I mean, look at Eris's cousin. She's young and she's stuck. She's like, this doesn't even make any sense. So for some people, they can't get past it. It doesn't make any sense, and I'm glad that Dom gave her grace to express that. And so on the after show, she said that she exchanged numbers, with the mother, and she did understand that people, this is not what you envision. You don't envision your child getting married to a stranger and then having to have their whole marriage, broadcast on national television, for 2 months. Nobody thinks about that when they have kids, and that this is, the way that they're going to be able to get a daughter or a son-in-law. So she saw it, and I appreciated her patience. And I don't know, in the after show, Rudy was like, oh, I think you would have, been more sassy. And she didn't. I mean, she got a lot of heat, from the mother. And she was really graceful. She gave her grace. So I agree with Dom that she would have handled it, in a graceful manner, because she did. So I didn't appreciate Rudy's, conversation in that part, of the video. And I thought that they have put themselves in, well, she's helped. She's helped in her understanding with McKinley's whole thing about the tickets. I'm sure that was a whole mess with him trying to get first class and blah, blah, blah. And she smiled through that whole thing to help them get to Jamaica without arguing and without bringing, bad energy to that situation. So I appreciate, her for that effort. And she seems really comfortable. I love her smile. She seems really happy. And I'm going to save that. I'm going to save this. So, what am I going to talk about? I guess I'll talk about Jasmine and Eris next, because they are jumping up and down in my head right now. So, Jasmine and Eris walk into the room. We don't see him bringing her into the room. Like, we don't see Dominique and her husband coming into the room. But we can assume that Aries did not pick Jasmine up. I can safely assume that. He said initially he was tired and he really wanted to be able to go to bed. He hoped she felt the same way. And then she stepped out of her negligee and that joke was like, oh, yeah. So now you got some new energy. I like Aries. He scares me because I've seen the F-boy mess on this show. I'm really pulling for Aries. I'm pulling for all of them. Because at the end, even if you don't come together as a couple, especially for those who claim, the Lord, it's really important for you guys to bond. It's really important for them to be able to bond. So, I don't know. I'm torn. I'm already torn, and we haven't even gone into the honeymoon yet. So, I have here that the cousin is too much. That girl, and I clipped it. It's down there. You go look at it. The girl. She tried to talk to Aries. He didn't listen. And they're married now. And for her to try to take this out on Jasmine is wrong. Everything that she did after that wedding was 100% wrong. And I don't believe that she's praying for their success. What else do I have here? Oh, he said on the after show that he felt comfortable being himself around her and that he really appreciates her effort to give him that husband energy. A lot of people got mad because she was willing to feed him grapes. That's her husband. If that's what she's willing to do to make her husband happy, and he asked her nice. He didn't demand it. He asked her please. And she was okay. I don't understand if she's okay why other people are not okay with that. And then this is the relationship that she's trying to establish, with her husband. She wants to cater to him. And if that's what she wants to do, people need to mind their own damn business. I'm sure it's stuff that you do for your husband that I'd be like, okay, really? You doing that for him? But that's your relationship. I can't afford to go on any more rants because I'm already at an hour and I don't want to be here. So what else do I have here? Oh, okay. I thought that it was really good when he said after, I think it was the next day, or maybe when there was some time during this episode where he told her that he was grateful. He was grateful for her. He was grateful for the experts. And, just being where he was. He was just in an appreciative, place. So I really, I appreciated him, for being able to communicate that. I didn't like him talking to her about swine. I mean, your dietary things are your dietary things. Don't try to make somebody feel a certain kind of way because that's what you choose, to eat. You didn't specify that, and don't put that, on her. So I hope that their dietary issues is not going to be, a thing, between them. So Chris and Nicole, they woke up fine, and I thought I liked the way that they both presented themselves to the families. She sat and listened, and she said that she appreciated the feedback, that she got from his family because it kind of gave her a perspective that she wouldn't have thought of, on her own to be able to really protect her husband's heart because they're telling her that that's how he walks. His heart leads him, And, they want to make sure that even if this doesn't work, between them, that this is something that he's going to be able to recover from without having to deconstruct himself into a pool of goo and then build himself back up, into a human being. So we'll hope that, number one, they're able to make it. But then number two, if they're not able to make it, then they can still leave, two people who have learned, something from this situation and can grow, from that point and not regress. So, she's ready for a sexual relationship on the honeymoon. I think that because he has been out of the game, for so long, that's where his hesitation, is kind of coming from. But in his communication to her, it seemed like he was willing to try to meet her, at her sexual, romantic, level. And I thought that the way that her dad was communicating, to Chris, during the brunch was just much. He said it the night before. And so what he did was overkill at the brunch. And I feel the same way about Eris's cousin. It was just ridiculous. So they are going to have to let go. These people are grown. They're married now. And you can stop talking about serial killers and all this, that, and the third. They are married. So if she's married to a serial killer, then, hey, man, that's what she's married to. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Dad? And at the end of the episode, I really hope that Chris is a good guy, because I hear her sharing her traumatic experience, with him. And we often do that as women. We share our experiences with our guy, thinking that he's going to listen and not treat us, that way. And I really hope that Chris is as good of a guy as we all think that he is and that he presents himself, to be. So all of this is to be determined. And I want to make sure. Please make sure you go down in the comments. Like I said, I'm going to have the lifetime clips. I'm going to have that thing down there about the police officer who is a member of Omega Psi Phi. So I want you guys to go and look at that. And go back and look at the clips, that I put down, trying to articulate, what I'm talking, about on this video. And I appreciate you guys. Please like, share, subscribe, and support. If you like, what I'm doing, you appreciate, the information, that I'm giving you, I appreciate, your support. So I will talk to you on episode number 5.